What she's really saying is if men emoted more like women, then the world would be a better place. Which is batshit insane.
No.
What did you say?
I didn't say that the world would be a better place, and if they emoted like women, because women are definitely more emotional beings. If it was like a balance to us, no, absolutely not. But I feel like you have to have the discernment to know when and where. There's a time and place for everything, obviously. So I think being vulnerable with another person definitely makes a relationship more intimate.
Oh. You know, it's an interesting. I want to get your input on this argument. A compelling argument I've heard from, well, not just women, but anybody on this, is that this idea that women are more emotional than men. And, but here's like the counter argument is like, well, if you look at men who are in prison, for example, for violent crimes, typically when you're like committing a violent crime, that tends to be like a really emotional violence tends to typically not be steeped in reason or rationality. You're typically emotional when you're you're angry, you're in a violent state. Although I think like probably a lot of people who are in jail or prisons, or it's like drugs. There's even with some violent crimes, it's like premeditated. But you could even argue that premeditated violent crimes are there's like you're using emotional decision making to be like, okay, I want to get revenge despite like the negative repercussions of, you know, whatever it is. What do you think about that? The fact that, you know, there are more men in prison for violent crimes. So this would indicate that actually men are maybe more emotional than women.
Yeah, that's the only thing that stops women from having higher stats of abuse and domestic violence than men is their inability to actually act on that. Like they don't have the force.
Right.
They don't have the adequate force. So if they had the adequate force, they would be much more dangerous. And also, since women are young, since like the day they're born, they are humbled. They are humbled in life, knowing that as a female, if I hit a boy and he's the same age, he's gonna beat the shit out of me. So they're always humbled since the beginning.
I feel like that also comes from a place though, like with the imprisonment, whatever, like that would be from maybe bottling stuff in way too long to where it's just like gotten to a boiling point and you overreact about something. It could be like things that I've seen is like it's people are in prison for the dumbest shit, honestly. Like,
yeah, and just to be clear to the viewers, I'm not actually making that's not my position, but that's an argument I've heard been made. I know the proportion of men who are in prison for violent crime is incredibly low, so I don't think it would point to like a sort of general thing that you could attribute to all men, that they're just like more prone to violence. Most men are not violent in any capacity, but it is like a interesting argument that I've heard, so yeah. Plus, but that is a good point. Like if we just leveled the physical strength of women, would we see higher incidence of physical violence?
Yeah.
In women?
Well, this is why women want to be the same. Like there's a reason why the propaganda that's pushed is to make you equal to a man, because you want to feel like you have the same level of dominance as a man. You want to have that same assertiveness. You want to be louder like a man. You want to be able to dominate. You want to have 50-50 in the relationship. So now imagine if you actually had the brute force to be able to act on that. You guys would be control freaks. You know, like those women cops that aren't used to being in positions of power,
do you not think
and then all of a sudden they have power.
Too? You don't think guys are too, though?
Yeah, but with our nature, like the way we're designed, our telos, men have a specific leadership tendency in them. Yeah. So here's the thing: there's two groups of men. There's evil men that lack masculinity, and then there's good men that protect the rest of us from these bad men. So we need good men that are guided by a moral compass to prevent us from living in this chaotic world.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Word. Okay, let's see.
Real quick.
Guys, if you want, we'll do sort of a final call. If you want to get a $69 TTS in, $69 TTS, streamlabs.com/whatever, doing like a, yeah. Let me let this one come through then.
D's Nuts High got M donated $69. These 304s need to take accountability for their own actions. They friend zone the good guys and fuck chads and tyrones. The wall is undefeated. Get used to your cats. All y'all bishes, hold this cell.
Damn, that's crazy.
It sounded like a guy who got friend zoned.
I don't know. It sounds like, I don't know.
Sound like you need to get your emotions out in like wrestling or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Well, who should they get their emotions out to? A female or a therapist?
No, probably a therapist. Like obviously,
a therapist.
To
A female,
whatever
right?
podcast.
A female.
How
No.
about just their other dude friends?
or other
Other dude friends?
Other dude.
anyone.
No, but
don't bring
you
it
can't
into
just
a
say anyone.
Don't
You can't just
bring
say
it into
anyone
a
though.
relationship.
Because when you keep saying like they need to get help, but help by who?
don't bring it into a relationship. Get
I know,
help
but
from
I'm
anyone
asking
else.
you, like,
can,
a therapist?
sure.
Because you believe in therapy. Yeah, and they're all women. Do you
I
think
don't
women give good
necessarily
advice to
believe
men?
in therapy.
They're not all women. They're not.
I don't think.
guys,
I don't think
equal.
therapy
We're
is
speaking
much
in
of an
general.
assistance.
Okay,
Honestly.
good.
So,
But you got to understand, women can't give advice to men.
I mean,
Especially, they can't give advice to men on how to be men.
So then, why are you
and
giving us
no, I
advice on how
agree
to be
that.
women?
But also,
What was that?
I think,
Why are you giving us advice on how to be women then?
I'm not giving you any. I haven't given any advice. I've given perspectives and I've given like my lessons. I don't tell you to apply it.
If you don't think that we should give you advice, then you shouldn't be able to give us
Yeah,
advice.
there's a difference. Men are the leaders. Men dominate. Men run this
yeah,
world.
I mean,
but
women can be leaders too.
emotionally,
There's so
if we're
many
thinking
in
that
history.
this makes us feel a certain way, then why wouldn't we voice that opinion? You know, like it's just open conversation at this point.
Do you think men have the ability to, like, not saying it's perfect, but do you think men have a better ability to tell a woman how she ought to be a woman? Or do you think a woman can tell a man how to be a man?
Both.
I feel like it's a balance there.
No.
Kind of.
They're, like, over a huge percentage now are in single mom households, meaning they're being raised by a single mom. And those all have the highest depression stats, highest suicide stats.
Because they're being
As
cheated
far
on.
as men being emotional, I think the problem lies within the home, first off and foremost. Like, I think that a lot of fathers in these relationships need to have more conversations with their sons and, you know, let them actually express that to someone.
Yeah, but what ruined it was the thing that we talked about at the beginning, which is like the no-fault divorce. So it's easy for you guys to just get out of a marriage now. And so this is causing all the problems. The women are the ones that are initiating the divorce. It's not the men. So now the women think
Why?
I'm going to be
Why are
independent.
they?
Hold
Why
on.
are they?
Hold on. I'll
Why are
answer
they?
right now. But the women are thinking I'm going to be independent. I'm going to give my family a better life, only to raise the worst kids that we're seeing right now.
That's not
That is
always
true.
the case.
Yeah, you can look
It's
at the
not
stats.
always the case.
You can look at the
Statistically,
stats.
it is true, though.
You guys,
that-
look, you guys keep
Sure.
reducing it to
But it's
always
not.
or never. I know it's never like 100%. I know it's not. Generally, we look at the stats, like 70 to 80% of a lot of these horrible crimes that are committed by kids that were being raised by a single mom. So you can say not always, obviously, but the majority of the time.
Most divorces are also caused by cheating by the male.
No, they're not.
No, they're
No, they're
usually
not.
just the woman leaving
half.
because she's unhappy.
Yeah. Well, no, not even. Yeah.
It's like half. It's like half. now.
Not just
But
unhappy.
also,
No, but you just
what
that
has
was
caused
false.
it
Where
to
are you
get to
getting
that
those
point?
numbers
What
from?
has caused it to get to that point to where the woman feels that there's no
Okay.
like
Yes, I'm gonna break this down for you guys super easy. Okay. So I believe that God gave us a gift, which is the ability to make kids. For $0, like imagine the most valuable thing in this life.
$0.
Yeah, no, I mean obviously you have to pay to like keep the kid. But I'm saying all you have to do right now is walk
Create a
outside and let a
child.
hobo nut inside you, and then you have a kid 9 months later. Like to me, that's crazy. But the thing is, it's so easy. It's so easily accessible now, which is why women don't value the fetus in their womb, and they have abortions left and right. Because the easier you make something to be accessible, the less they value it. Same thing with marriage. The easier you make it to break that commitment that was supposed to be a covenant between the man and woman and God, it's so easy to break it now, so you don't value it. Same reason why the body count. We don't have a reason why you should have a low body count, which is why you guys don't value your own body. Anything pink hair? Pink hair, anything? Anything?
Oh, sorry, I zoned out.
Okay.
My bad.
You see pink?
Yeah. Is that pink?
you think?
It's like lavender, fuchsia, maybe
Lavender.
magenta.
Lavender.
And
Wow,
most
that was-
divorces are initiated by the woman, and it's usually not for anything major. It's just because she's kind of unhappy.
Yeah, and
Or
they
like
think they want a
the
better
guy
career.
didn't stick
But
around
what is
for the
what is
kid.
the man not providing
No.
in
A guy
that
didn't stick
circumstance
around for a
that
kid,
would
too.
make her feel
A lot of
that
times
she's not happy?
A lot of times what I've seen a lot of women do is they want a man who will do everything they want him to do. They want him to basically simp for them. They're like, you gotta do this. They're like, this is what's gonna make me happy. You have to do it. The man does all of it because he's like, I'm trying to make my woman happy, and they naturally want to make their woman happy.
Having expectations is the biggest fault in any
But
relationship.
then what ends up happening a lot of times though is when the guy does everything for the woman, he becomes emasculated, and the woman is not attracted to him because he's not showing leadership. And then they get unhappy with the relationship and they leave because they're not attracted to him anymore. When it's partly, it's like a huge chunk their fault that he has been that way because they beat the man down if he tries to step up.
And you know what's so funny about that? That this reflects in reality. If with my son, he's young, and I don't know how they're born with this, but when we give him more things, he wants more and more, and that thing that we give him, he's never satisfied with.
Yep.
So we have this innate desire to always want more, and the easier we give something to someone, the less they value it. So that's why I'm saying the marriage thing. Like the easier you remove the no-fault divorce, you give a woman the ability to break up or leave their family, their entire family, for independence and career and money, they're gonna take it.
And people also make like divorce such an easy option like nowadays. Like I think a lot of people go into a marriage almost preparing for it to fail, and that's why people are getting like prenups and stuff. And so like I think that if you go into a marriage with the value that this is a lifelong commitment to this person, and it's also a choice to love this person every day, and just accepting that not every day you're going to be happy. Happiness is an emotion, but like the one eternal like joy that's found like in a relationship built on honoring God like as a union, and you know.
But even religiously speaking, like like biblically, Abraham had multiple wives, multiple children from each of these wives. So
Well, there's
like,
a lot of things you can find in the Bible that you probably wouldn't want to do yourself.
Yeah.
I know.
Sure.
What's your point?